The alien dragon lay in the charred valley like a broken mountain, its scales cracked and bleeding iridescent blue ichor. Smoke curled from its nostrils, and a low, rumbling moan echoed through the gorge every few minutes. The soldiers dared not approach. Even wounded, a creature like that could destroy entire battalions. They had set up perimeter drones and warning fences, and just waited for it to die. But Mira didn't believe in waiting. 12 years old, small for her age, and curious beyond what any adult would call reasonable, Mira had grown up listening to tales of dragons. Not earth dragons, but the ones born from the stars, the old kind with minds like galaxies and hearts like supernovas. When the alien beacon had landed, crashing into the forest near her colony's border, they told everyone to stay away. But Mira had seen it fall. She had felt the tremor in her bones. And when she snuck out that night, clutching her father's old medkit and a flashlight, she hadn't expected to find something that looked like pain itself. The dragon was coiled half in the river, one side scorched, its face twisted in agony. Its jaws hung open slightly, and every time it tried to shift, it released a whimpering growl. That sound, half child, half nightmare, was what gave Mira the courage to move closer. That, and the glowing pulse she saw wedged deep inside its mouth. It was a thorn, not a plant's thorn, but a jagged spike of alien debris, likely from its crash, lodged between massive fangs and burning with an eerie red energy. The dragon blinked slowly. Its eyes were not like a predator's. They were clouded with pain and exhaustion. When she took another step, the creature's nostrils flared, but it didn't attack. Maybe it knew. Maybe it understood. "I want to help," Mira whispered. It made a sound, something like a growl, low, guttural, and warning, but not final. She took it as a yes. It took 2 hours to reach the mouth. Mira had to climb the dragon's limb like a cliff face, her hands slipping on slick scales. She talked to it the whole time, told it about her colony, about the stories her grandmother told, about her kitten named Void who had gone missing last week. When she reached the muzzle, the smell of blood and heat nearly overwhelmed her. The thorn pulsed angrily. Around it, the flesh was raw and infected, sizzling with some kind of corrosive energy. Mira bit her lip. "I'm going to touch it now, okay?" The dragon exhaled a long breath that ruffled her hair. She worked quickly. Using a vibration cutter from her father's kit, she scored around the spike, cutting through necrotic tissue. The dragon twitched, once hard enough to make her nearly fall, but then went still again. The spike shifted slightly. Mira wedged in the clamp and pulled. It didn't budge. She tried again. Nothing. On the third try, with all her body weight leaning back, the thorn wrenched free with a sharp, wet pop. A geyser of blue ichor sprayed across her chest. The dragon jerked, then went utterly still. Mira panicked. "No, no, no, stay with me." She jumped down, racing to one of the med patches and slapping it on the exposed wound. She didn't know if it would help. She didn't know anything about alien biology. She just did what she could, packed gauze, sprayed nano-bandages, applied all the cooling gel she had. The dragon's eye opened, and for the first time, she felt it, a voice in her mind. "Little healer." Mira fell to her knees, not out of fear, but out of awe. The voice wasn't loud. It was tired, old, yet gentle. "You felt my pain." She nodded. "You sounded like my cat when he cries at night." A rumble, laughter. "Your kind feared me. You did not." "You sounded lonely," she said. There was silence for a long moment. Then, "I am last of my flight. I came seeking a place to rest, a place to be." The words twisted in her brain like ancient melodies. Mira sat beside the dragon's head. "You can rest here. Just don't die, okay? You have removed the shard of war. It no longer festers. I will heal." She let out a breath she didn't realize she was holding. By sunrise, the military had noticed the girl was gone. They found her curled against the dragon's nose, asleep, both of them breathing calmly. Panic followed, but the dragon didn't rise, didn't roar, didn't retaliate. It simply opened one massive eye and looked at the humans, then at Mira, and waited. She woke slowly, yawned, and blinked at the crowd. "He's not dangerous anymore," she said. "He was just hurt." The general, a woman hardened by decades of Xeno conflict, looked between the massive creature and the girl. "Did you pull that thing out?" Mira shrugged. "It was hurting him." The general turned to the others. "Stand down. Lower weapons. Medical drones forward." Mira smiled and patted the dragon's muzzle. "See? Told you they weren't all bad." Weeks later, the dragon did not leave. They built a sanctuary instead. Mira visited every day. She learned its name, not in words, but in a deep resonance only she seemed to hear. She called him Ashkar, which meant broken star in an old tongue she heard once in her grandmother's stories. Ashkar healed slowly, but his wounds weren't just in his body. He had seen worlds burn, comrades fall, and had carried the thorn of pain in his flesh and his soul. But now he had a little healer. And every evening, Mira would curl beside her with a book, a light, and tell him stories of humans, dragons, peace, and sometimes cats. And Ashkar would listen, because sometimes salvation doesn't come from weapons, fleets, or power. Sometimes it comes from a child brave enough to care.